This footage is now seeing the light of day. What was he intending to use it for?
I have no idea what he was doing that for.
I mean, you know, you're talking about a man who films himself doing everything and has for decades. I think he wanted someone to be behind the scenes with him.
A word or a sentence. Eminem.
The best.
Lloyd Banks.
Cool.
Tony Yayo.
That's my boy. Loyalty.
50 Cent, the rapper.
Still got it, man.
50 Cent, the television producer.
Just get going.
Future.
Oh, talent.
Nas.
The best.
Jay-Z.
Good business.
Which I'm telling you, from them clips that I saw, man, all I see is a person driven by ego. And when you're driven by ego that much, you don't have a ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. Like, there's no reason for him to be recording any of that stuff he was recording.
He thought he was recording the biggest comeback story.
Tupac hit us with Hit 'Em Up, and that joint was cold. I had to make the call to Biggie, and I said, we not gonna respond. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
Muffy trying to see me weak, hearts I rip. Biggie Smalls and Junior Mafia some more.
New court documents show that Heapy D. Davis accused Sean Diddy Combs of paying $1 million for the of rap icon Tupac Shakur.
R.P. rest in peace, Biggie and Pac. Both of y'all should be living. Yep, but I ain't trying to beef with him, cause he might put a hit on me like Heapy D. Get him. That's the only way you're gonna be. Killing me ain't gonna be on no beat, silly.
But I remember it was just me and Diddy there. And it was Yayo and a bunch of dudes from Queens sitting there, and it was 50. And Puff was like, yo, I'm just gonna walk up on him and punch him in his face. And
wait.
Yeah.
Puff said he's gonna walk up on 50 Cent and punch him in the face.
Yeah, he said, I'm just gonna punch him in the face. And I said, yo, what are you talking about? He said, yo, ain't that your man? Ain't that your man? He said, man, go talk to your man. I said, yo, hold up, B, because he knew me and Yayo was tight. So I try to talk some sense in Puff head, because, you know, the other people that was around is just crash dummies. Whatever Puff say do, they do. Me, I'm thinking about the repercussions. So I said, no matter how tight me and Yayo is, you punch his man in the face, all of them niggas is getting up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just me and him. So I said, yo, B, you can't do that, man. I said, yo, it's just me and you here. He said, what, you scared? You scared? I said, nah, I ain't scared. I said, I'm just telling you, like, that don't make no sense.
Take me through your name, the origin of the name, and where it started and to what it is today.
Well, my mother named me Sean because when I was born to her, it was her right.
Sean. That's a nice name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what happened?
Yeah. People start calling me it.
Yeah. I see. Right.
Before we even talk about who said what, or how a single tweet turned into a headline everywhere, you need to understand why this moment hit so hard. Because this wasn't just another internet back and forth, this was legacy, family, pride, old tension, and modern social media all crashing into each other at the same time. And once it started, there was no way to slow it down. When Sean Combs' The Reckoning dropped on Netflix, it didn't land quietly. Almost instantly, it turned into a cultural moment. Hip-hop fans were dissecting every episode, journalists were debating its framing, podcasters were breaking it down scene by scene. Even people who don't normally care about rap history were suddenly paying attention. And there was one reason above all others for that shift in energy. One name that changed the entire conversation: 50 Cent. The second people realized 50 Cent was tied to producing this documentary, the tone completely changed. Because 50 Cent doesn't move by accident, he doesn't do neutral, and he definitely doesn't do harmless. Whether you love him or hate him, his involvement alone signaled that this wasn't going to be a soft, respectful look back. It was going to provoke reaction. And that reaction came faster than anyone expected. What made it even more intense was the history sitting underneath it all. The tension between 50 Cent and Diddy didn't start with this documentary. It's been there for years, simmering just below the surface. Not the loud, explosive kind of beef with diss tracks every week, but something quieter and sharper. Side comments in interviews, jokes that didn't really sound like jokes, all moments where you could tell there was unresolved friction that never fully disappeared. So when The Reckoning dropped, people weren't just watching content, they were watching a statement. Every clip felt intentional, every choice felt calculated, and that's why reactions weren't casual. At first, it was debate. People argued about what was fair, what felt biased, and what crossed a line. But then the conversation shifted, because it stopped being about Diddy the public figure and started feeling like something much more personal. That's when Diddy's son, King Combs, entered the picture. Now this is where context really matters. King Combs didn't grow up in the same industry era as 50 Cent. He grew up in the social media age, where responses are instant and public, where defending your family online isn't just normal, it's expected. When King saw his father's name dominating headlines again, not for achievements or music, but for controversy, it hit a nerve. And instead of letting it play out quietly, he reacted. In a tweet that didn't stay up long but spread everywhere, King Combs directly addressed 50 Cent. The language wasn't calculated, it wasn't strategic, it was emotional, heated, raw. He said that if he ever saw 50, he'd slap him. Now let's be clear about something. This wasn't a real-world confrontation. There was no physical altercation. It was a verbal threat made online. That distinction matters. But even as a post, it landed like a bomb. Because suddenly, this wasn't abstract tension anymore. This was Diddy's son stepping into the spotlight and publicly challenging one of the most battle-tested figures in hip-hop history. Screenshots spread instantly. Blogs picked it up within minutes. Radio hosts started talking about it. Fans took sides immediately. Some people understood King's emotion, others thought it was reckless, but nobody ignored it. And that's when everyone started waiting for one thing: 50 Cent's response. If you followed 50 Cent's career at all, you already know how this usually goes. He doesn't respond with fear, he doesn't respond with anger. He responds by flipping the moment on its head. And that's exactly what he did here. Instead of escalating the situation, 50 Cent treated it like a joke. He mocked the threat. He dismissed it. He made comments about King needing to close his mouth in photos. Then he casually listed his own accomplishments, not directly insulting King, but sending a very clear message without saying it outright. Well, you're not on my level. That response did two things at once. First, it completely deflated the tension by refusing to treat the threat as serious. Second, it reinforced the power dynamic. In hip-hop culture, not reacting emotionally is often more disrespectful than reacting at all, and 50 Cent knows that better than almost anyone. What made this moment fascinating wasn't just the words exchanged, it was the contrast. King Combs was reacting from a place of emotion, loyalty, and family pride. 50 Cent was reacting from experience, control, and confidence. Two different generations, two different mindsets, same spotlight. But this didn't come out of nowhere. This confrontation was the result of years of tension that never fully exploded, but never went away either. 50 Cent has spent a long time poking at Diddy publicly, sometimes joking. Oh, sometimes serious, sometimes subtle, sometimes very direct. He's questioned Diddy's image, mocked his persona, challenged how the industry treated him. Meanwhile, Diddy mostly avoided direct confrontation. Different strategy, different energy. So when 50 Cent attached his name to The Reckoning, it felt like the biggest move yet. Not loud, not flashy, but calculated. A documentary doesn't yell, it presents, and presentation can be more damaging than accusations. That's why this project hit so hard. And that's why King reacted the way he did. From his perspective, this wasn't criticism, it was an attack on legacy. And here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Diddy's children are growing up in an era where their father's past is constantly being re-examined. Old clips resurface, interviews get replayed, narratives get rewritten in real time. That's heavy, and when the person helping shape that re-examination is someone who has openly disliked your father for years, it stops feeling objective. So, while King's reaction was controversial, emotionally, it makes sense. But what made the situation even more layered was how differently the rest of the family responded. While King went straight into confrontation, Diddy's daughters chose a completely different approach. They posted messages about staying calm, ignoring hate, and focusing forward. That contrast mattered. Same family, same pressure, totally different responses. Some fight, some reflect, some stay quiet. And all of it was triggered by a documentary. That's when the bigger picture became impossible to ignore. This wasn't just King Combs versus 50 Cent, and this was proof of how powerful storytelling can be. One series managed to pull family members into public conflict, reignite old rivalries, and reopen conversations people thought were done. and 50 Cent knows exactly what he's doing. After the exchange, he didn't back down. He didn't apologize. He didn't soften his stance. He continued giving interviews and hinting that there was more material, more footage, more conversations that didn't even make it into the final cut. And that's what keeps this story alive. Because now people aren't just debating what was shown, they're debating what wasn't. What else exists? What did Netflix include? Why were certain angles avoided? Every time 50 Cent hints at more, the pressure builds. And that's the real reason this confrontation matters. The reckoning didn't just document history. It created new history, a new chapter where the next generation stepped into an old feud without fully realizing how deep it runs. Because 50 Cent isn't new to this. He's survived beefs that ended careers. He's navigated situations far more dangerous than tweets. He understands how narratives work. King Combs, on the other hand, is navigating something completely different. Defending his family in a digital world where nothing disappears and everything is permanent. That clash of experience is what made this moment so compelling. And let's be honest, this hasn't turned into an ongoing war. There hasn't been escalation beyond words, no physical confrontations, no continued threats. Most coverage frames this as a brief but intense flashpoint, but symbolic moments matter. This moment showed just how close this documentary hit to home. It proved that 50 Cent's project wasn't just entertainment, it was disruptive, and disruption always creates reaction. So where does this leave us? It leaves us with a documentary that didn't close a chapter, but reopened one. It leaves us with a feud that's no longer just between two industry giants, but one that now touches family, legacy, and the next generation. And it leaves us watching closely. Because if the reckoning sparked this much reaction, imagine what happens if more footage ever surfaces. Imagine what happens if the conversation keeps evolving. This story isn't over. It's unfolding in real time. And here's the part a lot of people aren't really talking about yet. Why this moment feels different from every other 50 Cent controversy. Normally, when 50 trolls someone, it's entertainment, it's jokes, it's memes. It fades after a few days. This time the reaction didn't come from an artist or a rival trying to win clout. It came from someone protecting blood. And that changes everything. King Combs wasn't responding as a rapper or a brand. He was responding as a son. That's why it felt raw, unfiltered, uncomfortable. Because once family gets involved, the rules shift. This wasn't about charts or streams, it was about legacy. And legacy is one of the most sensitive things in hip-hop. From 50 Cent's perspective, this documentary isn't personal, it's historical. He's always positioned himself as someone who exposes what others won't touch. Whether people agree with him or not, that's been his brand. But from King's perspective, it was deeply personal. And that disconnect is where the friction lives. So now the question isn't just who was right or wrong. The real question is what happens when powerful stories collide with powerful emotions. When history meets family, when the past refuses to stay buried. Do you think King Combs was justified in confronting 50 Cent publicly? Do you think 50 Cent crossed a line by producing this documentary? Or do you think this is exactly what happens when legacy is put under a microscope? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Because whether you side with 50 Cent, King, or neither, one thing is clear. This documentary didn't end a conversation, it started one.